Hi, welcome to this quick tutorial for taking a MERN stack application and replacing the local Mongo database with a cloud-based database provided by Microsoft Azure, and that'll be Microsoft Azure CosmosDB. And what is MERN? MERN is Mongo, Express, React, and Node. If you're not familiar, if you're looking at this tutorial, you probably are familiar. And we're using a sample application that I found by looking on GitHub. Here is the app with this repo here, cefjoei/MERN_CRUD. I found that by searching for MERN and looking on all of GitHub, looking at repositories. And then the third one, I sorted by number of stars actually, because I wanted to see the most popular. And then the third repo, actually no, several repos down here, the sixth one was the MERN CRUD application. And that is what we are going to work with. You'll see the application here. Now I'm already running the application and I'm refreshing. You can see it's working. It's a simple create, read, update, and delete application. So I can create a record here. Let's type something. I cannot type. And I'll put some age. Okay, I get my age wrong, so I'm just gonna go ahead and update the record here, and everything is working fine. Cool. Now I'm gonna show you that that is talking to a local Mongo database. I'll open a new shell here in VS Code, and I'm gonna type Mongo, which connects to my local Mongo database. Now I can use this database, and it was actually called MERN CRUD. How do I know that? Well, in the config file here, there's the db.js file in the config folder. And this path here specifies that the application, the Mongoose driver for Node, is going to use this connection string to connect to the database. It's connecting to a local Mongo, and it's creating a database called MERN-CRUD. That's what we're going to use. And let's see, DB, I never know what anything is called. I think collection. DB, actually no, I know the table is called users. Users, we'll say find one. And you can see my record is right here. That is what I just created. And if I update that, for instance to 30 now, and then run this, you should get this. So start the local database, everything is working as expected. So that's great. So now how do we move this to a cloud-based database, right? Okay. So what we will have to do is provision an Azure CosmosDB account. So here I'm in the Azure portal at portal.azure.com. And you will probably have gone to the Azure for Students offer and created an account there for yourself. But perhaps you're also using a free trial of Azure, or already have some other Azure credits. Now I will create an account here under Azure CosmosDB. And then I will create a new resource group. I'm going to call this Hackathons. You can call it whatever you want. I'll call it Local Hack Day Demo Account. Now the key part here is under the API, we must choose Azure CosmosDB for MongoDB API. And importantly, if you have never created a CosmosDB account, you can now utilize a free tier discount. So this should be applied. Make sure it is appearing here. If it isn't appearing, this option, it means you already previously used a free tier discount. So find that database instead, use that for this tutorial. Otherwise, utilize create something with the free tier discount here, and then hit apply. Now we can choose where we want to do this. I'll keep West US for me. The location may depend on wherever you are. Non-production is fine. The rest is actually fine. I'll just continue to the next steps. I can actually skip everything, and I'll just say review and create. Now it'll tell me some stuff. Importantly, it says it will take about 10 minutes. So I will go ahead and skip this video. I will cut out, and we will come back in 10 minutes to see how this all finished. And we're back. Our deployment has succeeded. Some time has passed. So you can see the screen here, it's complete. Let's go to the resource. And here you see the account I created, the local hackday demo account. And the first thing I already get right away from the quick start, what takes me, is some connection string information. But this is for .NET. It's not what we want. Let's click on Node. And here's what we are interested in. So let's actually just take this primary connection string, which also includes passwords and other things. It'll tell you some other things here, other ways to connect. But let's just take the string. And remember the db.js I mentioned, where I put a local URL in. I'll comment that out again as well. I'll keep it around for later if I want to switch to my local database. And I just put this one in quotes, I think. Yep. I think it should be in quotes. And in theory, this should work now. I'm gonna double check some things around the firewall settings here. Access is allowed from everywhere, not specific IPs, so that's good. That means I can access the database from any IP I might be on right at this moment. That's the default. So let us try the thing, which is just starting up our server and see if it connects. Well, we didn't get any error. Oh, we did get an error. Let us see. Oh, port 3000 is in use somewhere. That's, I had another terminal open. I was already running the server, so let's run. It did connect to the database, and port 3000 is available again. So now let's create a record. Same thing as before. I am very old. Oh, 130 is the oldest. Interesting application. I'm on 130. All right. So now remember I have this Mongo tab here. And if I do this, find one, look how it's using this local entry, right? Because locally I have a different record. Even if I change the name here, just, we'll change it to this, for instance. You can see that is not the record I'm getting because I'm writing data to the cloud-based version. In fact, here in the Azure portal, I should be able to browse my data under collections. I'm going to browse, refresh, and now I see the users collection. And it by default used the database called admin. That's what it created by default, apparently. Users collection is here. And I can't really see the data from here, but that's all right. I can use typical Mongo tools to inspect the data. So that's how easy it was to connect to my cloud-based Mongo database. And you can create other databases within this database account. And that's how it is. But now let's think about taking that web application and hosting it entirely in the cloud, because at the moment we only have the database running in the cloud, but the application is running locally. So I'm using the Azure CLI, the command line interface. Probably something you might want to use since you're already running Node locally and are used to running npm commands and such. The different ways to install this, I've already done that. So I'm going to close this application here. I close the shell. I close the shell as well. And okay, that's all fine. Now I have the Azure CLI. All right, so now I am in the right folder here for my web application. And notice I'm in the folder with the server.js. So with a single command using the Azure CLI, I should be able to deploy this app. So let me type az web app up. I'll give it a name that's globally unique. So let's say call it local hackday demo app and have to specify a location. So let's try West US. And that should be all I have to do. -L means location, -n means name. So that's it. Let's try if that works. It's creating a new resource group and it's creating a new app service plan. That's a bit like a virtual machine, and it can host multiple web apps. So a bit similar to a virtual machine, but managed for you. And the application is being zipped up and being deployed. It'll be just one moment. And then hopefully everything works as expected. Let's go to the Azure portal meanwhile, and let's look for our resources that are being created. Earlier we created this local hackday demo account. Now we also should be able to see this resource group it just created, which it is in this BEVERST something group. In here is the local hackday demo app that we just created. That's great. So now the app should be up and running, kind of. So we get a URL in here, local hackday demo app.azurewebsites.net. Aha, it's up and running. And we can see that it is in fact connecting to the database. But we didn't quite follow the best practices here. We hard-coded the file, right? You noticed we hard-coded the connection string. It's actually working as is, but this is not good. What we should have done is remove the connection string here and then use the environment variable. So let's save that. Let's redeploy our app. Simply run the same command, should work. Now locally the app won't work anymore because we're not specifying that DB environment variable. But let's go back, let's go to our database that we created earlier, which is this Cosmos account, this one. And remember in the quick start section, we got our connection string. So let's go there, go to Node, let's grab the connection string here. Let's go back to our web application, which is this one. And one thing we have to do is we have to inject this environment variable, and that is called an application setting. Now we can go to configuration here, and then we'll say new application setting. This one will just be called, the name is DB in caps, and the value will be the connection string. And then that's all we need to do. The value is hidden, but you can see if you expand it. And now we'll save this. Now I never know if this is necessary. In a way, it should work right away, but for good measure, I like to restart the application. So I go to the overview and I'll just say restart. Now we didn't hardcode our password anymore, and conveniently we are able to let's reconnect, and now we can make all the changes we want. Save this, and it succeeded. And those changes aren't happening locally. The whole app is online, it has HTTPS, it's using that cloud-based database, and that's all we want to do. All right, pretty easy. Thanks for watching.